podcast includes commentary and conversations about issues relevant to clinical psychology. It is intended to educate, entertain, and enlighten, and is not a substitute for actual mental health treatment. Individuals who share personally here choose willingly to tell their stories to benefit you, the listener. All other references to clinical situations are altered or limited to protect confidentiality. For more specific questions or help with a personal situation, please consult a local mental health professional. Therapy, mental health, real life. This is Psych Rally with Los Angeles-based clinical psychologist Dr. Martin Hsia.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We are on to episode 24 today of Psych Rally, and I am very delighted today to be joined live and in office with Mr. Rudy Caceres. Rudy is a mental health advocate with NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness. He is a public speaker, a civil rights activist, a brand ambassador for Wear Your Label, and a very active social media presence and vlogger. And he's also the co-founder of Southern California Against Forced Treatment, which he co-founded, I believe, with... No?
I'm just some guy.
Just some guy. Okay, well, anyways, welcome, Rudy.
Yeah, I don't think Emily would appreciate that.
Okay, well, we'll check with her. Rudy's referring to Emily Shear-Cutler, who was a guest with me a few episodes back here on Psych Rally. So, anyways, Rudy's just a guy, apparently. Other than what I said so far, Rudy, in introducing you, who is Rudy Caceres?
That's a good question because you list all those titles and achievements, but like 90% of my day is just laying on my ass.
Okay. Am I supposed to laugh at that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got that right.
You got to get used to it.
Well, you said that, and then you had a deadpan face, so I wasn't sure, but I laughed. So.
I know because they can't see the face, so they can't really get the full effect.
You're on an audio podcast. You kind of have to fill in your imagination, huh?
Yeah.
Right. People don't know what we're wearing or anything, or.
Well, I'm definitely wearing my label.
Nice. Nicely done. Talk about Wear Your Label.
Well, it's a clothing brand.
Uh-huh.
All the clothing has messages like it's okay not to be okay, about anxiety, about eating disorders, and depression. So it's a great organization. I got to it was the second time meeting the founder, Kaylee Reed. She's great. She's very nice. She's around my age. Very motivated. Like I wish I was as motivated. I wish I was doing all the work that she's doing at her age. And so that's basically what they do. And then they donate a small percentage of their net profits to different organizations, such as NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness.
Gotcha.
Great little company.
NAMI or Wear Your Label?
I guess both.
Is NAMI a company? Would we consider them a company?
No, that's just nonprofit.
Right, yeah. So, anyways. But just so I'm clear, so Wear Your Label, right, is clothing but with messages and themes regarding mental health awareness.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Gotcha. Very cool. And you're a brand ambassador, meaning that you wear their clothes and you promote them?
I actually don't have any of their clothes, but well, see the thing is that you use promo code Rudy10 and you get 10% off your order, and then I get I think I get 10%, like a 10% credit. So if you spend like $100 on clothes, and then I get $10 from that. So I'm working my way up to actually buying yeah, I know. They don't give me any free shirts.
How expensive are these shirts?
Oh, no. They have some that were relatively cheap. I think around $30 and goes up to there. So
okay. Well, anyways.
I know. Well, no, I like their stuff. So
cool. Okay.
Big supporter of that. I highly recommend.
Highly recommend their clothes, especially once you own one of their items of clothing.
Yes.
Then we'll really get to see it. Okay.
I know.
So backing up even further, why are you a brand ambassador for Wear Your Label? We just dove into that
just for the free stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I've always dealt with mental health issues since the womb. So depression and anxiety, social anxiety, have always been socially awkward and shy. So that I just never really had real friends in elementary school, and junior high was really rough. And then high school was even worse because I barely cared. I got 4 Fs and 2 Ds in ninth grade, the first semester, and I graduated with a 1.6, which is as almost low as you can go with actually graduating.
You told me before that actually in elementary school you were a good student. You had high marks.
Yeah, but I used to get beat up all the time, like with my family, so like not like by my mom or anything, but it was just really, really hard, like just knowing that you're gonna like get beat up every day, and it was just hard at school because people would make fun of me because I was fat. Like I got all the A's, so people just treat me like a nerd. So fun times in elementary school.
Doesn't sound like it. And you grew up in
San Pedro, California.
Okay. Wasn't there a Madonna song about San Pedro?
Was there?
San Pedro, La Isla Bonita.
No,
Okay, well,
I've
anyway,
never heard of that.
I'm dating myself.
Yes, I mean that's yeah.
I don't think it was really about San Pedro, California. I guess it was about some exotic island. But
so if you're dating yourself, does that mean you're gay, or is that?
Don't take it myself too literally. Okay. Playing with my words, man. Jeez. Talk about your. I mean, you sort of mentioned growing up, picked on, beat up, like literally beat up every day.
Yeah.
Like pretty consistently.
Yeah.
Without intervention.
No, I mean it's just is what it is.
It happens.
And it's not like it made me tougher. Like I don't even remember the last time I've been in a real fight. Yeah. Probably since maybe junior high.
Yeah. And what was family life like in the midst of all that?
Well, it was a thing where my mom was really in and out of my life. My father I've never really known at all, like a lot of gangs, drugs, and everything. So, and
I guess from what you hear, or you
haven't
really known him.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced a lot of it, and you would think that it would be very easy for me to fall into that lifestyle, but I've never belonged to a gang. I've never done drugs. Wasn't the kind of person to pick fights with anyone or create trouble at school. So I think it was just because I wanted to distance myself from that. I saw it. I knew the path that it would lead down, and I just wanted to really do my own thing no matter what people thought of me.
In some ways, I mean, you mentioned the GPA, but I just have to think emotionally and developing who you were and how you felt about yourself. It's in some ways it's a miracle that you got through elementary school, middle school, high school. Yeah,
because I was in the gifted program, so I've always had the potential to just get straight A's, honor roll, and just like graduate and go to Harvard and everything, and I just didn't try. I should have. I would have been having like my PhD by now. But I just did not care at all because I never saw me growing up. I never imagined me being 18 and trying to look for a job and doing my thing on my own. It just seemed so far ahead, even in high school. And now it's like I really should have like did my homework and got good grades.
What do you think if you look back to young Rudy? Like, what do you wish would have been different that might have challenged you to do that?
Definitely support from my family because it's just hard to be a self-starter and to not really have a role model.
There was no model for that.
Yeah.
There
wasn't high expectations.
So dad wasn't around.
No.
And mom was kind of in and out.
Yeah.
And you were raised by, in the meantime?
Mostly my grandmother when I was a child, and then when I lived with my mother for a while from like 10 to 14. I moved out. I haven't lived with my mom since. Moved out with my brother and stayed there until I was 21 when I went into the Army.
Yes. So talk about that decision. So you finished high school with
the 1.6, probably about 536 out of 600 and something in my class.
530 out of 600. So there were people who were below 1.6.
Yes, which goes to
quite a handful.
Which goes to show how horrible the education system is.
Yowzers. Okay.
Yes.
Finished high school. Took some college classes.
I went to Santa Monica College. I took theater because that was one of the only fun things I did in high school, and it wasn't even until my senior year. I just liked being on stage because, like I said, I had always been a shy person, been in the shell, and this was the perfect opportunity because I I tried to be a class clown, which ended up getting in trouble because like that's the only way I felt like I can break out of my shell. But I kept getting in trouble and just got pathetic because like I'm the class clown. It's all funny, but I'm also failing all my classes, so it's like the joke's on me. And here, this was the perfect opportunity because it's encouraged. It's encouraged to be larger than life and to really be someone that I wish I was. Even if I'm playing the bad guy, just try to just how do I explain it? How would you? Have you ever done theater? You used to sing, right?
Rudy, you weren't supposed to tell anybody that. Maybe what I'm guessing you're saying is sort of like you're playing a role, and you project your voice and you project confidence, and you get on stage in front of people as if you're not terrified by it, as if you're not.
No, I loved it.
Right.
I loved it. In a way, it's like when you're larger than life like that. It's like it's okay to be manic.
Were you manic?
No. Definitely not diagnosed until much later.
Yeah.
I had times where I was in my early 20s where like I got really into the Bible, especially the Book of Acts. 'Cause they talk about after Jesus goes up to I guess heaven, where you have Luke and was it Peter? And so they basically create this community where they have no possessions. They all share everything. They just like live like middle of nowhere, and it's just this utopia. And I thought like, oh my God, like this is how society should be. What happened? Why do we care so much about material things, about dividing ourselves, having all these borders and all of this war? So I wanted to create a community like that because I couldn't find anywhere. I used to do a lot of research on Wikipedia, like when I was like first getting out, and like that was when like I would just go down the rabbit hole of just like that web where you start off one place in Wikipedia, and then like 5 hours later you end up like a million different directions. And so basically, what I stumbled on like deep was this philosophy called anarcho-primitivism.
Yowzers.
Yeah, and there's actually a movie that's based on that called Instinct, which came out like 10 or some years ago with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
with the gorilla.
Right. Yeah.
Where he's like this primitive guy, and
right.
like they capture him or something.
Yeah.
So basically, they try to live like the original people. So they don't have clothes. It's like they're feral. Like a lot of people don't know that there's a thing called feral humans.
So you're saying that there are communities, societies based on anarcho-primitivism?
There's some. It's very small, and they're not really 100% anarcho-primitists.
Okay.
So
I
I
got
wanted,
that word wrong, by the
yeah.
way.
So I wanted to, I wanted to be a leader in one of these communities. I want to start my own. I even got to the point where it's like we don't even need language or vocabulary. We would just say words that were just musical, and it would be the greatest thing in the world because it would be the closest to the Book of Acts. Now I look back, it's like that is so delusional. That's so Grandeur of Delusions, which is the Delusions of Grandeur. I
got what you're saying.
I often say like if I had a movie about me, that it would be called that, the Grandeur of Delusions.
Perfect.
So I was really like I actually wanted to become a priest because I thought I could work my way up to Pope because that was like around the time that I think where they had Benedict.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that was my goal. Like I was gonna be the next Pope.
Wow. Okay.
And I had a girlfriend at the time too. So It's like, so
ruled
it's
out
like,
already.
I know, like we were like she wanted to have sex, and it's like I got to be a priest.
I gotta be the Pope. Stop coming on to me.
Yeah, okay. Like we could still be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like just understand.
At least for now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So.
Well, this was in the theater days.
Yeah, this was in the Santa Monica College days. So this is
Okay.
this is like 1920, like before I got into the Army.
1920 age, not the year 1920.
Yeah, I'm not that old.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I'm gonna twist your words back on you too. So.
Thank you. But no, I was into that. I was into time travel. I thought I could fly. Not that I tried to, like jumping out of a building, because I used to have these flying dreams, like really lucid dreams, where I'm just like I had this very specific way where I just start kicking my legs, like just start It's like basically start like pedaling, and
Yeah.
I just lift off the air, and I can just like, as long as I'm doing that, I can fly like not really high, but like high enough that I can go over power lines.
I got to tell you, I've had something similar.
Oh, really? Did you
Yeah.
ever try it?
I've never tried it, but I
Don't.
was a long jumper. Thank you. I will keep that in mind. I was a long jumper in high school, and we're taught to kind of
Yeah.
right
Okay. So you
run
know
and
what I'm
jump
talking
and
about.
pedal kick, and then it was that kind of feeling in the dream.
Yeah, I used to think that I can just break the record, just keep doing that, and
Right.
just end up on the other side of the world. And so I had someone I was seeing who I told her about these dreams, and she told me is that Rudy, anyone else who told me that, I would not believe them for a second, but you, yeah,
Makes
you,
sense.
I think you can do it in college. Yeah,
To break the record.
no, that I can
of-
fly.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Still working on that one.
I don't have those dreams anymore.
Oh,
That's weird.
That's
Those
interesting.
are fun dreams.
maybe that says something about where you're at,
Yes.
which is where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah. So back then, that was definitely like I never saw it as a manic thing. 'Cause I really didn't do a lot of research until much later. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
So there were flares or flavors of these fantasies. Put it
Yeah.
that
Like
way.
I thought I was just this prophet.
And in the midst of that, you were sort of saying that being involved with theater was sort of it cultivated something for you. It was a place where you could project confidence, or it was a community too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I always wanted to be the leading man. And I never got there. I was always the side person or the guy in the back. And so I always felt like I was being slighted, like I wasn't getting the opportunity that I deserved. So I basically left after a while because it was quite clear that I'm just not going to make much progress. And I wanted to be a big time actor. Like I wanted to be the next Tom Cruise. In my head, there was no limits because I always thought I was meant for great things. So I remember when I was a kid, I was on the bus, and this is gonna sound so dumb, so silly, but have you ever been on the bus where like they have like those cables you pull to like set the light off that you want to get off?
You're ready to get off at the next stop.
Yeah, so I was a little kid. I was probably like 5, and I remember doing that, and someone else was trying to pull it, and some lady next to them was saying like, "Oh, someone already pulled it," and I was thinking in my head, "Someone? You don't know
nerve of people to be the one pulling.
you don't know who I am? How dare you? How dare you?"
Attention all passengers, Rudy Caceres is on the bus here, so don't anybody be pulling on that line.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. It's like everyone in there should know who I am.
I see.
And I'm like 5. This was like coming from the mall where like I begged my grandma to buy me the Power Rangers movie.
Gotcha. Which Power Ranger is your favorite, by the way?
God, I think it might have been the Gold,
Okay.
which came on later, but he was the one.
Oh, not the Yellow Ranger,
No.
which of course was every Asian American kid's favorite.
Yeah, didn't she
Yes.
die?
Probably. Yeah.
She's dead to me.
Oh man. Couple years in college, some theater. Talk about the decision to go into the Army. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Don't thank me.
Okay, I'll
Cool.
take that back.
Because
then.
you'll learn why.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah. So
No,
yeah.
thank you.
No.
nothing, yeah.
Yeah. Don't be grateful. Yeah. So basically, after a few years of just going nowhere with theater, and I didn't want to take general ed classes. I had like 90 credits in college, and probably like 9 of them were general ed classes.
Okay.
So I basically had no clue what I was doing. And that was like when like the gas prices were like 4 something a gallon.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
I was driving 120 miles a day in that year.
Oh God.
Oh.
There's actually a gas station on La Cienega. Like right when you go down that road that ends up at the 405, gas is like $4.30 something.
Ugh.
And it's like people actually in there. It's like, what are you doing, guy? Like, how does this place get away with that? How?
Because they can.
No, I want to spend the entire hour just raging over gas stations where that is possible. And there's like one down the street where it's like $2.90 something.
I don't have a good answer for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
So it was during that time.
Yeah.
I basically ran out of money. I actually maxed out my credit card because I wanted to make it to the end of the semester. And then after that, I had no clue. I was getting pressured to get a job, and I never had a real job at that point. And so I applied for a job at Radio Shack. The interview went very well. And I thought I had this in the bag. I even went to the district office and they liked me because apparently I know that it's not just about the phone. You got to sell them like the cables and the charger and everything because that's how they make their real money. And so I told that to the manager and he was like, oh, that's very impressive. So I thought I had this job. And I remember waiting a couple of weeks and like, wait, why have they called me back? So I finally got through to the manager and like he's like, oh, I don't know. So he called the district and he said like, oh, what happened is that your social security number matched with someone else.
What?
Yeah, so someone basically stole my identity and I fixed that the same day. What they said is that you have to wait 6 months to apply again. And then I was like, screw this, I'm just going to join the army. Just I'll take anyone.
So it wasn't about, you know what? I want to be all that I can be. It was screw Radio Shack. I'm gonna go enlist.
More like Radio Whack.
Oh, nicely done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I had known some people that are in the military.
Gotcha.
And, like I know it's not the funnest thing in the world, but this is 2008, but I left in 2009, so this is like in the middle of the complete crash of our economy.
Yeah.
So
why not?
Yeah,
secure
because
paycheck.
Yeah, they'll
benefits.
take anyone. They'll take anyone. Especially when I was there, like it wasn't like people that are like patriotic, want to like serve their country and kill for their country. It was.
I just got fired by or rejected by Radio Shack.
Yeah, I lost my house.
Yeah.
I have a family to feed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so stuff like that. And some people like that had like 10, 20-year long jobs. There was like people that were like 40 who basically had to start from scratch, like as like a private, like was like E1.
E1 or something.
Yeah, we used to call them private fuzzies because they didn't even have a patch with insignia.
So you enlisted.
Yes.
And talk about your time in the Army briefly.
Yes. Briefly. It was a brief thing. So it's always hard because when I tell everyone I'm in the military, they're like, oh, thank you for your service. How long were you in? And it's like, oh, God, I was in 8 months.
That's service.
It was good enough to get disability.
Tour of duty.
Yeah. So I went to basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which we like to call Fort Lost in the Woods. Because it's basically in the middle of the Ozarks. This is like January. So, yeah.
Far cry from San Pedro, California.
Oh, yeah. This is the first time I've ever been in the snow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I get there and it's just miserable from day one because it's basic training. Like what were you expecting? It's not summer camp.
In the woods.
Yeah.
In the sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Totally. Yeah. Where you're doing like push-ups on ice. Like you should see that. It's like everyone's just slipping and stuff, and it's just like drill sergeants yelling. Jeez. And it's like save the drama. Like, were you in drama in high school? And it was like, yes, drill sergeant.
Drama king over there.
Yeah, I know. So it was like just from the beginning. I almost quit. Like the first week, like there was people on suicide watch the first week.
Really?
Yeah. So thankfully, I had a cool drill sergeant. Like you think of like drill sergeants of just like the worst people, like hate privates. But he was cool.
Nice.
So he helped get me through it. He assured me that once I got out of there, it'd get better. Because like I learned then that I do better with women as friends. Because being around guys, especially like army types, where it's just I'm like the complete opposite. So I used to get bullied a lot. I just felt like quitting towards the end.
Yeah.
So I dealt better with the females. Because I didn't have to worry about being this tough guy and like proving my masculinity or anything like that. So I did well in that. That's really what helped me get through. And so I graduated barely. Like I felt like I didn't deserve to graduate.
How long is basic?
It's about 10 weeks, but I got there 2 weeks early. So I know. See,
overachiever,
like,
man.
Yeah, I know. 2 weeks of just sucking. But I made it through. I graduated. I didn't have any family or friends come to my graduation. So, because I didn't think like, oh, why would people like fly
across the country? You just didn't think to ask them to do it.
Yeah, and then like I was the only person who had no one come.
Oh man.
Yeah. So.
And that was actually an accomplishment too. As you said, we almost didn't make it 1 week, but you got through 10.
Yeah.
So,
no, it was. Yeah. So that was what I learned is that like there are shitty people like in the army. It's like there are like 10 guys in the whole army who actually like are good people, and the rest are just like assholes who just we have this thing called shamming, where you basically find any kind of excuse not to do work.
That's an Army saying?
Yeah, shamming.
Really?
So you basically like hide during like formation and just try to take the like abuse that time at lunch and like end up going shopping and stuff and like just like
that happens.
Oh yeah, all the time. Not to like just tear down the entire military, but it's just something I learned. And what happens is in the military is that when you're in a unit and someone does something bad, they end up screwing around the entire company. So everyone gets punished for one dude.
Run laps, push-ups kind of thing.
Yeah. So like punishment, the worst punishment in the military that I've ever heard of. Thankfully, I never got to do it. It's called a GI party. Basically, you have like a 3-story barracks, and so like the place, like you're just totally trashing it. You're not taking care of it, not doing like your chores and everything, cleaning it up. So when they see that, when they've had enough, when the sergeants, the platoon sergeants, they come in, basically you have to take out all of your furniture, all of your gear, completely empty your room, every room in the entire barracks, from the top to the bottom. And this is like the lockers too, like everything, the beds. You bring it down, you put it out in a formation exactly how it would be in your room outside, the little like pee area or whatever it's called. And you take it all out. Then you wipe down. You basically do like a full immaculate clean in your room. Get inspected again. Then you have to bring it all back up to the very top if you're in the 3rd floor. And then you get
elevator.
No, kidding me? That was the most exercise I got. Just like always running up the stairs every day. And so you get inspected one more time. And this is like an all-day thing.
Wow.
This is like...
That's a punishment.
This is from like 7 a.m. to like 5 p.m. Can you imagine doing that?
I can't imagine doing in where I currently live. I don't want to imagine what kind of junk I'd come up with, or kids' crumbs under my bed or something.
Yeah, and they would find all kinds of fun things. Like there was like one guy, I think they found a katana in his room.
That might actually be useful in a barracks, but...
Yeah, when the Germans invade.
I don't know if the Germans invaded, the first place they would go would be to a camp in the middle of the Ozarks, but...
No, well, yeah. So but I did graduate. I made it to Fort Huachuca, Arizona. And so I went from being in the Ozarks to the desert.
I gotcha.
And so that was a stark contrast. And that was where I went to military intelligence school. So fun times. Fort Huachuca, which we learned to lovingly call Fort We Gotcha Bitch.
Because
first off,
you're not going anywhere.
Well, yeah, there's nowhere to go. Like you're in the desert, and like when you get discharged, it takes like 10 weeks to finally leave.
Wow.
So, fun times.
No escape. And how did things kind of wind down?
Well, from the very beginning on military intelligence school, it is just because you think like, oh, this is nice. This is like the Harvard of the Army. It's like your barracks are basically like staying in the Radisson. But it's not, because it's more of a mental thing. And it's just constantly just work upon work and just learning like a million symbols and maps and everything.
Wow.
So it's just so overwhelming in that, and just getting such bad anxiety. Because you never know. Well, I mean, you can like study like all day and all weekend, but it's just really hard, because if you fail a test, then you have to take it again and get your privileges taken away. And then if you do that, then you end up getting recycled to another unit and starting class. And then if you do that, they have this word that became the most menacing word I've ever heard in my life.
Uh-oh.
And it's not the name, it's what it entails. So you get recycled to another unit. You try to take the military intelligence class again. And if you fail that, you get T-spaced.
T-space.
Don't ask me what the T stands for. Don't ask me where that comes from. Basically, if you fail it again, the Army gets to choose your next, what we call a MOS, military occupational specialty.
Right.
So it could be cook. It could be mortarman. It can be folding laundry. It could be anything, what they care to. So you could sign up for military intelligence analysts. And if you fail and you get T-spaced, you end up wherever they want you to.
Wow. And presumably would be something less favorable or prestigious.
Yeah, they're not going to send you to what's a West Point.
Right. So that didn't happen to you.
Yeah, so the anxiety just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Like there were people, everyone hated it there. I remember talking to this guy once where like we're in like the little lunch area, and he's like, man, I hate this place too. And he said like one of these days I'm just going to come in, I'm just going to shoot the whole place up. And I was like, wait, like you're not going to shoot me up, right? And he's like, oh, no, Caceres, you're good. I'll save you.
Everyone except you.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
when I'm in that state of mind, I'm going to be very discerning who I'm shooting and not shooting.
Thanks. Yeah, just like warn me in advance. I won't come. And
tell me that day.
Yeah, okay. He's like, Rudy, it's happening. Okay. All right, so I'll go sham.
Yikes. All right.
So once it got to like the very, very peak where I just felt like exploding. And so I remember going to the dining facility and just sitting down, the first person I recognized, and telling her that I want to kill myself. I want to die right now. And when I did that, I just froze up, just completely went catatonic, which I had done before when I was younger, of just feeling like I just couldn't handle my life. And it wasn't going to get better, and there was nowhere I can go. So it was like the fight or flight response, but you froze.
Yeah.
And I froze. And like you freeze in the Army, that's like the last place you want to freeze.
Sure.
So they ended up basically lifting me up out of my seat, taking me to the emergency room, and basically staying there until they can check me out.
When you say you froze, I'm picturing not like you froze mentally, not just mentally and emotionally, but like physically.
Yeah, I can hear everything and hear all the jokes people were making.
So you were mentally you were aware of what was going on around you. You could sense everything.
Yeah.
But you couldn't move.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
do you know what position you were in?
Like when I was
did you have a hand gesture going up or
No, I was actually in the middle of eating, so I had my mouth agape.
Full of food.
Yeah, I think so. I was like I remember slobbering, like just like spit like just dripping out of my mouth.
Boy.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing it happened in the barracks and not like in a combat zone or something.
I know.
But having said that,
that was the reason why I got discharged, because they basically told me that. Well, I ended up in the psych ward first for 7 days in this place in Tucson, which I had never been before. I'd never been in a psych ward, and it's like I'm so used to this very strict lifestyle, to basically being in this place that it felt like prison, and it was nicer than one I would go to later, but just being there in that confinement, and it's like what Emily talked about last time. It's just you could have good doctors, good nurses, and everything. There were some really cool people there, but just that feeling of confinement and feeling like you did a bad thing. That's just really traumatizing and really hard to get past in life.
And you're not allowed to leave.
Yeah, and like you're not allowed to. I feel like going outside and playing some basketball or something.
Yeah.
Or I just want to be left alone right now. Stop checking up on me.
Jeez.
So, so fun times. The only real fun I had was playing wiffle ball and karaoke.
Well, that makes it sound a little more rosy.
Yeah, no, there was like this real pervert guy in there. Who was,
well, anyways.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. There's times you wanted to leave if you couldn't sing or play wiffle ball.
No, like so I remember singing Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember totally nailing it too.
Which was later remade into Ice Ice Baby with Vanilla Ice.
Oh, yeah, duh.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not my first trip around the rodeo.
Are you dating yourself too, by the way? Maybe I'll edit that out too.
Is there going to be edits?
I don't know.
Okay.
Should there be?
I don't know. Like this feels like we're going to go for longer than an hour. So.
Well, we'll move things along then.
Okay.
You get out of the Army. You were given a diagnosis.
Yes. At the time, I had a diagnosis of schizophrenia because you might know this, but I think it was like DSM-3 or 4, where if you had catatonic features, you're automatically considered diagnosed as schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might have changed in 4, but they were so far behind the times. Are you going to read it now?
I looked it up recently. My DSM's in the other room right now, but anyways.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got that diagnosis of catatonic schizophrenia, which, whatever. It actually said I can come back. and that I actually didn't have a disability. I just had a quote-unquote condition. So in my head, I was just going to go back. I'd probably get a different job. I was thinking about going into broadcast public relations and just work for the American Forces Network. But
You could choose that if you wanted to go back into the Army?
well, what I learned was no.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I remember taking 10 weeks because they told me that it's like if you're in combat zone, that happened, you'd end up getting people killed. Or if you give a wrong intelligence report, you end up getting people killed. So you get that pressure on you. But it took 10 weeks from that to actually getting my orders to go home. So 10 weeks of basically doing like sweatshop labor or just picking out weeds in the rock pit all day or just, so just hosing down cots.
Boy.
Yeah. So the last
Glamorous.
day I was there was graduation day from military intelligence school. Everyone's in their suits with their families and everything's all good times. And I'm just like packing up, leaving, like no Army lifestyle at all.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Way to rub it in your face.
I know.
There,
And then I'm like going through the Popeyes because it's like on the way to get to my taxi.
Uh-huh.
And you know who I saw there?
Popeye?
No. It's like he's not like Ronald McDonald where he does a tour.
He's also not real. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you
it's
see?
Robin Williams.
No kidding.
Yeah. You know the movie?
Which movie?
Popeye? The one that came out in the 80s?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that was Robin Williams. Rest in
Right,
peace. Yeah.
right. Rest in peace.
Yeah. No, guess again.
So sorry, he was there?
No.
No. I thought
No.
you said, oh.
No.
Guess again.
Actually, Charlie Daniels did a concert. Devil Went to Georgia.
You saw him.
Yeah, that was about as good as it gets.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
It's Army entertainment for you.
Army entertainment. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
But yeah, I'll give you another guess. Guess who I saw?
Who did you see? This is on the way to...
The way to the airport on graduation day.
What's the name of that drug lord? El Chapo.
El Chapo.
Did you see El Chapo?
Oh yeah, he's just totally hanging out at Popeyes on
That's
the
right.
base. Like this is like he got like a special clearance.
Sure.
Well, it's like we trained him or something like that. So
anyway,
he's just,
I think I'm wrong.
He's just hanging out, like yeah.
Who did you see?
I saw the guy who told me he was going to shoot up the place.
What did he get discharged?
He graduated, so he has like a suit on.
Oh my god! And he's eating at Popeyes. Right after
and
graduating.
it's like I see him.
Oh man!
And he told me like I went up to him and it's like, wait, what? You graduated? Like you were going to shoot up this place.
Right.
And what he told me is that I will never forget. It was really hard to hear. He told me, well, it's not that bad once you get used to it.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's not that bad once you get used to it. That's what he told me. Like the worst thing I could have possibly heard. It's not that bad once you get used to it. Because he graduated, the guy who was going to shoot up the place.
Real easy to say.
Yeah.
You're like, it was pretty bad for me.
No, I was like, damn it! Like I should have just hung in there. I should have just hung in there and just gritted my teeth and just like did whatever I could. And I'd be there too. I'd graduate. I'd go on to my unit and do all this top secret James Bond stuff. So that
Well,
I never got to do.
You did hang in there as much as you could. It's not like you chose to freeze, right?
Yeah, I mean that was the last time.
You were doing the best you could. No?
Yeah, I mean I didn't have any major issues after that, but I still think back like, what if I would have hung in there? What if I was still in the Army right now?
Well, you did hang in there as much as you could. So
I just wanted to see the UFOs.
That's right. Aren't they in Arizona or is it New Mexico?
I can't tell you.
Okay. Well, but you said you didn't see them.
Or did I?
All right, let's move on.
Is this where the commercial break
yeah,
is?
Okay. This podcast will never be published.
Yeah, we got a commercial break.
I'm going to be murdered here.
We got to sell some Nature Box.
That's right. You want to read a pitch here?
Yeah, Nature Box. Yeah,
you got nothing there.
Yeah. Me undies.
So this is 2009. So you come back. What time of year was this, by the way?
This was October. October 16th was the day I got discharged.
You got discharged, and you're back home with family.
Yeah, and I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone that I had a mental breakdown. I just told them I got sick, so they thought I had herpes or something. Christmas
comes around that year.
Yes.
That's a low point.
Oh yeah, because like I didn't have any money to buy anyone like gifts or anything. I'm sleeping. I live with my sister, and I sleep on like literally on a deflated air mattress.
Didn't even inflate it.
No, because I popped it.
If you pop it, why bother still sleeping on it?
Don't give me a hard time.
I'm just trying to understand. That's cool. Anyway. Sorry. You have a better sense of humor than that. That's
Yeah.
the only reason I'd ask.
It's truly the dark days.
It was a dark days. But talk about Christmas.
Wait, is this about when I tried to kill myself?
That's what I read.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I understood.
Yeah. Yeah, hard time because I didn't talk about this for the longest time.
Are you okay talking about it now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was just one of those things where I had no reason to live. Like, what was I doing with my life? And like seriously, if I live, what would actually be the point? Like, what's gonna happen that would make things better? And I didn't have an idea. I was getting really depressed. I felt like a complete failure. And so I was just miserable. And I remember just walking to my room, and I remember calling a friend, telling them that I'm going to kill myself. And he was like, no, don't do that. And it's like, you need to get some help. And I just hung up on him. And he had told me later that he called the suicide hotline, but since he didn't have my address, that he
couldn't do anything.
Yeah. So that was, I tried to take my life right there, and no one knew about it. No one knew about it because I didn't talk about it for years. No one, because I ended up just on on the toilet, just vomiting. So they probably thought I was just had too much to drink. And so I ended up going to sleep, made it through the next day. Didn't even know. Have you ever had one of those nights where you go to sleep not knowing 100% sure whether you'll wake up?
I suppose you could say that's any night.
Yeah, I've actually had a few of those.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty scary. And I did wake up the next day feeling good, like that I didn't die, because I don't know what happens when you die. It can just be really, really weird. I often think
part of you is relieved.
Yeah, I often think you go up to the clouds and there's St. Peter or Jesus or whoever, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, you barely missed the mark." So and then he says, "Yeah, you're probably gonna go to hell." And I say, "Well, oh God, I'm so sorry."
Please.
I know.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, by the way, this is hell too."
Whoa, that would be ironic.
Yeah.
It's all the same, by the way.
Yeah, it's just perspective.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that yet. So here you are. You survived that day.
I learned, that was part of the top secret thing in
That's
the
right.
Army.
That's wow.
They tell you whether heaven exists or not.
And whether hell and heaven are the same, for that matter.
Yeah.
Boy, I got a lot of things to think about.
I know.
Yeah.
God.
Second career
NSA,
here.
if you're listening to this, I'm just kidding.
You got through that, and then you're doing some other things between discharging from the Army and being active, speaking publicly, telling your story. Yeah?
Yeah, it took a long...
I
mean, I only started telling my story in 2014.
Is that it?
Yeah, so
Oh.
I'm late 2014. So this is basically from October of
2 years.
2009.
Oh, I mean...
2009 until around November of 2014.
Yeah.
Maybe October.
What were you doing?
Well, I was going in and out of college, taking classes, failing or dropping out. I tried theater and just ended up just dropping out of plays. No one could rely on me, so it was really, I had nothing going for me. And so I remember I was taking some physical geography class and just had just my brain just completely just turned into mush because I couldn't fit any more information in it. So I remember just walking out, going straight to the Life Skills Center at LA Harbor College, where they have mental health interns, society interns, where they have someone on call at all times, just in an office. And I talked to her, and she was really cool. She was just a few years older than me, so she totally got it. And so we hit it off immediately, and then we set up a weekly schedule the entire year, which you can't find that anywhere else. Any healthcare plan, they basically tell you to do DBT for 6 to 8 weeks, and they just kick your ass out because you're supposed to be cured by then. So
Because if you're not, it's something wrong with you, right?
yeah, I know. You ever thought about doing promo codes for your podcast, and they just put it in, you get a 10% discount for your therapy session.
So you had a year, once a week. With
Yeah,
her.
the
This is
entire-
at the counseling center.
Yeah, like even during winter break. So she was really cool, and I was very like, I wasn't combative with her, but she was basically saying like, "Oh, Rudy, you're this great person," and it's like, "Oh," I was saying like, "No, I need to graduate. I'd be on my master's by now. No one wants to date me. I should be living on my own. I should have my own house by now. But this, that, and with the other." And she was like, "Rudy, you're a great person now. All the other things, that's just a bonus. If that never happens, you're still a great guy." And I was like, "No, that's easy for you to say. Like, you have a boyfriend." And it's like, "No,
you
like,
weren't
yeah,
going to take that.
yeah, I
in, were
know.
you?
Like, you have this cool job and everything. It's easy for you to say. So don't give me that shit." So it took a long time. And one of the things that helped was that we started this chapter of an organization called Active Minds, which is this nationwide thing based in Washington, D.C. So it's basically a mental health awareness club for college students.
Cool.
And so I became the president. And I was the worst president ever, at least the first semester. And that was another thing, like the podcast I tried like around that same time where I felt like a failure.
That's right. You had your own podcast for a while.
Yeah, don't look that up because that's just straight garbage.
You guys might have to take it down. There's something still up there. I told you, right?
Yeah, I know. Like I didn't know.
I didn't
that
think it was
until-
garbage. I thought it was pretty funny, actually. If that was the intent.
I don't know what the intent was. I figured it was just like we just talk, and then magic would happen. So and then the second semester was better, but then she left, and I started with someone new, and it was a guy, and it was just nothing against male therapists, but it was just a different.
I'm not a fan of male therapists myself, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just.
Joking. I hope.
Or are you?
Am I? I don't know.
Well, maybe not other male therapists.
So this guy, he didn't fill the shoes. You had a good
No,
rapport with him.
he was a cool guy. It just wasn't as natural as her.
Yeah.
But he inherited the advisory role for Active Minds. And so I had this opportunity to win a grant from the state, and it was like a big one too. But
Cool.
it was like you have to do. I don't know. Have you ever worked on a grant proposal?
Informally.
It's not easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, 'cause it
especially
was-
if you've never done it before.
Yeah, like just going in there blind,
Right.
and just having to fill out like 1,000 essay questions. And so I was doing my best. I remember like thinking I had it like down really good, and I showed it to a friend who's actually worked on grant proposals. And she was like, "You're a great writer, Rudy, but like we're basically gonna have to do this all over again."
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and then the last day, I remember trying to just like mad dash to fill this all out, and I was at this cafe, and I didn't take my meds that day, and it was Effexor, so it has really bad withdrawal effects. And so I was just so frustrated, so overwhelmed. Like I tried going to the beach, just going for a walk, nothing was working. I went back and just got to the point where it's like I feel like I'm gonna have a breakdown, like I'm gonna have a catatonic episode.
Ooh.
I felt it coming on, so I went to the barista, and it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And
To
so
the barista?
yeah, I knew him. He was cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Right.
He still works there actually.
Okay.
So shout out to Oscar.
All right, Oscar.
Yeah. So he just walked me out. He walked me out. He had someone cover him, and we just walked around the parking lot. And he's never like we've always just joked around, like really like silly humor, and like we still joked around. It was fun to where I didn't feel serious, like he was trying to bullshit me and like shoot like sunshine at me. So he calmed me down, and I felt like I had beat it. Like I had defeated the catatonic
I
episode.
kind of wrote it out.
Yeah, it was like this light bulb just went off. It's like, oh my God, like I think I'm cured. I think I'm cured of this depression, this anxiety. I beat it. And from then on, this was like around Halloween, like I just felt so powerful, so elated, and like I felt like if I can beat this, I can beat anything. No one can touch me.
It sounds like going the other way here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see the trail.
Okay.
And so I went back to college at Active Minds. I didn't get the grant, but I was like, who cares? I don't need you.
You're like, I'm going to be the one giving the grants in like
Yeah,
a
because
year,
in my head, I like the money would just come. I was like taking out like payday loans left and right, and I was like juggling them. I was like, okay, well I can't pay that payday loan, but I'll get another payday loan to pay that payday loan. And because in my head, well, the money would just pile, like someone will just give me a bunch of money and it'll just take care of itself. I had this business idea that I just reached out to someone. It was a property owner local, and I figured it wouldn't be a gentleman's club, but it'd be like a social club where you pay like a monthly subscription, and it's like it has like open bar. You have like appetizers and everything, and like there's like music and books and everything. So just be a place to go to for people who had money and didn't want to be like around like these seedy bars and restaurants and everything. Because if you have the money, you should deserve to be able to treat yourself better and not deal with those lowly humanoids. And so basically I had this
Whoever those are.
Yeah, basically I had this proposal. Poor people. Basically I had this proposal where I would have this idea, and for like the first couple years, you would get half of the profits.
Okay.
So we'd split it. Like I would have this idea, we'd build it out, and we would split the profits. And then I told them that, and they never called me back.
Bummer.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was going to school. I was doing the active
What
minds
could have
thing.
been?
I felt like I should be the king of the world. I was so mad. I was so mad that I didn't get my own parking spot. I had this idea for the IT department. I would go to his office, basically where, first off, I wanted my own Wi-Fi because I thought that was bullshit that you had to sign in every single time.
This should be your own network.
Yeah,
Travels
because I'm
everywhere.
trying to do all these great things, and it's like, oh man, like you're making this so hard for me to run this place, and the fact that I have to ask to go to certain offices.
The nerve of people.
Yeah, like I can't get my own keys, like I'm some minor league jabroni. And so it got, and like I was like, felt like I was doing all the work, even though I had a secretary in the club, and I drove her away. She eventually quit. And it got to the point at the end of the semester where they threw me a surprise party, the club. And I was like, you're goddamn right you threw me a surprise party because I deserved it.
About time.
Yeah, I know. Like, you guys haven't been doing any work at all. You're just trying to put it on your transcript. Who cares? Some of you are not even depressed. And then I had this long argument with the advisor where she was talking about, like, Rudy, I'm like really concerned. Like, these sound like manic symptoms, and like maybe you should just like take it easy. Maybe you should get other hobbies beside this mental health thing. You should go to college. Maybe you can become an accountant. You're a smart guy. Maybe you should get a real job.
Oh, never heard that before.
Oh yeah,
Wowzers.
yeah, I know. Because I didn't want to be a therapist. Like I had someone told me I should be a life coach, and I was like, no, like. In my head, like, oh yeah, it sounds like mania, but that's the wrong word. Mania is like you're trying to say that I'm sick, that you're trying to put me in this label, or trying to put in this box, or you're trying to make this a negative thing, trying to call me sick.
Something.
You're sick. You're sick.
Yeah.
Okay, you are the ones who are so below me because you're victims. You want people to feel sorry for you, and you have someone who's trying to change the role, and you want to try to bring me down to your level. You're sick. And it was like this hour-long argument, and just slowly but slowly she started to chip away at me, and it got to the point by the end where she's right. She's right. There is no way to make money off this.
I see.
Once I get out of this little bubble, I'm no one. I'm just some guy that has no clue what he's doing with his life, because I'm president of Active Minds. Like, that's a big role, but I can't just do that forever. So I crashed. That manic crash. That is so... Basically anyone. I don't know anyone who's just manic for the rest of their life.
It was a few months, and then just down.
Yeah, it was like the bottom fell out below me. Yeah, the worst depression. Like, I don't feel like I'm fully over it. Because I've had times where I've been manic for like a day.
But you'll come back to that place.
Oh yeah, like the next day.
Wow.
Just constant depression. So fun times. A crash from mania. And at the time, like,
you didn't lose your sense of humor, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like,
Heck no.
Even after a couple psych ward visits and like forced treatment and everything. So yeah.
Well, let's talk about that.
Oh, good segue.
If that's okay.
Good segue.
Yeah. You were.
You just tried to knock over your mic. I'm not going to let you get away with that.
I tried to drop the mic. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Not going to encourage that.
Yeah, thanks. Don't. There was an incident while you were involved with a drama production that informs a lot of what you're doing now. Put it that way.
Yeah, no. Because I dropped out of the show because I was just so overwhelmed. That was like the third show I dropped out in just that college. And it was bad because I actually had a decent role in that.
Yeah.
And it's got to be too much because I couldn't memorize my lines. I was just going through so much stress. And there was this one day where I didn't show up for rehearsal, and like then I was just like didn't want to get out of my bed, and just staying in there. And my friend, I had already promised we were going to go for a walk, but I was just under the covers, just completely just out of it. And she would just like kept knocking on my door, like outside, and calling me, and so she couldn't get in. And before that, I've had just like really bad symptoms. I was hospitalized actually like a month before that, in the letter restraints, which is always a fun thing. I think they've gotten better at that. Before, like that was just like they just put that on whoever. They're just like, just bring it on.
Just throw
like,
it on there.
Yeah, I know. Just like, oh, he looks sad. Let's just put the restraints on him.
So talk about what happened then. Or should we leave the audience hanging? Rudy and I have so much to talk about here today, so we are going to leave the listener in a little bit of suspense here. Is that all right, Rudy?
Yeah, because like, what do you want for free? Okay, we let you know. We let you know who's steering the ship.
Okay, his words, not mine. But now a word from our sponsor is what Rudy told me to say. No sponsor today. That's okay. All right, tune back in with us for more with Rudy Caceres next time on episode 25 of Psych Rally.